Hi everyone, this is Jim Tolles, and today I want to talk about the qualities of stillness. I think stillness is one of those words that evokes a lot of ideas about what the spiritual path is, but I think it also brings with a lot of confusion because there's this concept that we just sit still all the time. Like we never move or we never have feelings. And so there's kind of this lack of understanding about what that means to come into stillness. And for those of you who are shifting into that awakened space, you may still have these ideas going on in your head. It's like, well, I should just sit and meditate and I should never be upset by anything. And while a lot of the things that used to upset us go away because our preferences are being shifted, or a lot of things are being cleared, our ego ideas around this is how life should be or this is what I should get, as those dissolve away, a lot of what we thought we needed in life, a lot of our preferences go away. But we still retain some of our own personality, right? It's not becoming just this absolute blank slate of, where we have no particular care about anything in life. It really is not passive. So that's another idea in there. I think acceptance gets confused in there too, around being this passive thing. And stillness and acceptance are not passive. They can seem to not be doing a lot because the more we rest in that awakened state, that stillness understands that there's not a lot that we truly need to do. That the amount of things that we spend our time doing, there's so much that's not even necessary. And so there's a way that we're actually becoming much more focused. It's this interesting way where we can be very broad, very still, and yet very focused, because it becomes clear what actually needs our attention in our life versus before we're just scattered across a bunch of different things. We're just running from kind of that social programming, ego programming that we have. We're like, well, I need to do this, and I need to do this, and I need to look this way, and I need to have this much money, and I need to have these many friends, and all these other things that have been built up on top of stillness. And the awakening for a lot of you, as you notice, it suddenly wipes out a lot of this stuff, which can be very confusing the more you hold on to the ego self, where it's like, wow, what do I want? What do I need? What's fun? What should I do? Because those are the old programmings that are still kind of going. And the initial targets that they're pointed at, the things that we thought we needed and we're doing, those kind of get wiped out. And then we kind of drop a level deeper. And some people, this happens naturally. We just drop a level deeper, and it's really easy to let go of a lot of these old ego habits. And for others, this is where they can get stuck. And so it's like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And so that phase, stillness, really is being still. It's coming into those meditative moments, developing your discipline and your practice to be quiet, to get to know yourself. And from getting to know yourself, that creates that inner equanimity, right? That inner stillness that you can move from. And in moving with it, as opposed to, being still and then going into this frantic, excited world, you carry so much more of yourself. Because ultimately you are this stillness. We are all stillness. We're all interconnected in this still place. And it's constantly shifting and changing. In some respects, the water can be a great metaphor, like the water in a lake. Can seem very still on top. Or it's still at other levels, but like there'll still be some levels that have this dynamic movement. It's very powerful. The ocean always looks like it's moving, and yet at deeper levels, there's a whole lot more stillness. And then there are other levels where there's this deep movement that kind of moves towards things. And this is the balance of life, that there's this kind of this deeper movement that we tap into that's within stillness, and yet at the same time it's not moving at all. These are some of the many paradoxes that you come to find comfort with. It really comes into that space of allowing things to be as they are and relaxing into them. There's really nothing to do with them. You don't really have to understand them because you're starting to be them. And being them, you're in such a more dynamic place. And consequently, you can take a lot of action in ways that you never could take before, in ways that are very mindful and understanding and actually aligned to things that truly matter to you. You start to become much more clear about what truly matters to you. There are many, many qualities of stillness because life is so infinite and so vast. And so there's so many different ways where you're going to find that stillness is in everything. This is not something that can be intellectually understood, however. It really is something that must be known from within. Otherwise, the ego tries to create this new layer on top of other stuff and say, well, it's all stillness, so it's all fun. And that's very immature and, shows a real lack of understanding. And usually it's a way to avoid looking at oneself and looking at how you've created the you of this moment. And shows a lack of responsibility to yourself and to others. And so stillness is a profound, profound space. And yet it's approachable and available to all of us. You don't actually have to be anything to achieve it, because you already are it. It's the beautiful part of this path, is you find out that it's very simple, that it's already right here, it's already within you. And so meditation, what usually happens for most people is you start to sit and you notice just how much noise you have at first. And the more you kind of allow the waters to calm and to still, it becomes very clear to you that there's this other layer that's always here. That isness, that space of presence that's always watching and seeing. And so wherever you are on your path, I encourage you to have a meditation practice and to practice just keeping on letting go from the noise, from the stories that you hear in your head, into this still place. Give yourself some time. And while time is not necessary to reach this place, some people you'll just sit and it'll be there that first time, and then you'll keep trying to get it back. We're not trying to get a certain experience either. We're simply coming to that space of allowing, and allowing either it to be very noisy in your mind or very quiet in your mind, because stillness and quiet aren't really synonymous. So when the mind is quiet, doesn't mean you're necessarily still. There can be all sorts of emotional things or physical sensations or energetic things that are moving around. When the mind is noisy, it doesn't necessarily mean you're not still. I definitely notice in my own meditations where there'll still be this part of me watching the mind kind of do its thing. And being in that still place naturally actually will start to quiet the mind, because you're not energizing it. You're not getting lost in stories. And like the little kid who's trying to get your attention and can't, eventually will go find somebody else to try and get their attention. Although in this case, the metaphor is that they stop. They start to relax, saying, oh, well, I can't get their attention. So there are many qualities of stillness. It's in many, many things. Obviously, there definitely is that space of quiet that's more commonly understood in kind of the idea that people have. But it also is the space that you can take with you into action, into doing things, and to reshaping the world in a way that aligns to your heart. So I hope this is helpful. Once again, my name is Jim Tolles. I'm a spiritual teacher and healer, and I write at spiritualawakeningprocess.com. Take care.